Subscribe to Two Tired Guys Productions. Go ahead.
Productions. Yeah.
Productions.
Two Tired Guys Productions. If they go to Two Tired Guys, they're going to find something different.
Yeah.
So make sure you put the.
He's right.
Something about blue pills or something. I don't know. What you get a little tired. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Talking About Cars with Randy Trudeau, and another exciting moment when we get to do something a little bit out of the box. We can see a bunch of guys. We got a full house in today. Let me explain how it's going. First, there he is. Hot Rod Bob Beck joining us from inside a car. What car is that, Bob?
1946 Ford.
Wow. Now, this is your wife's car.
Correct. She's let me drive it, and I kind of like driving Miss Daisy. I took her to our car meeting. We have an early Ford V8 car club meeting tonight. So she's taking care of the business part of the meeting. I'm in the car where it's warm.
Very good. Well, it would be a little awkward if you took the Chrysler to a Ford V8 meeting. That would be a little weird.
We did have someone show up with their Corvette. So
Seriously? And you're not like trying to boo him out of there and get rid of him?
No, I'm trying to talk him into joining our Corvette club too.
There you go. Way to go, Bob. That works. Okay, what about the guys in the shot at least as well too? Well, let me introduce them to you. They're guys who I've seen in and around. I've never met one of you, but I'll get to that in a minute. First, the guy with the hat on. Well, no, they're all wearing hats on. The guy in shadow there, the thin picture, that's a good pal. I've seen him at a lot of car shows. We've talked with him on Talking About Cars some time ago, who just corrected his camera. Louis Cicciari is joining us from beautiful downtown Simi Valley. And Lou, you have an interesting car that people will recognize immediately. Also, we have Richard Morey. Rich, we know from the TMPCC, Television Motion Picture Car Club. And also, we're going to talk with him. How you doing, Rich?
Very good. Thank you. How are you?
Everything
Glad to be on.
Thank you for being on. And, of course, I've read this guy's stuff. I belong to the Pontiac Club, so I've read his stuff in that magazine. I've seen his stuff all around, and most recently his car was featured on Jay Leno's Garage. Jim Suva joining us. Jim, of course, has a very cool car right behind him. I don't know if you can tell what it is. I did mention Pontiac, and it's gold. Look at that. Ooh,
I have to correct you on something.
Go ahead.
My car was not the one on Jay Leno's Garage.
It wasn't?
It wasn't.
Oh.
You have to correct that. A friend of mine's car I got on the show.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. See, we've already learned something today on the show. So we're going to talk to these guys and get an idea of some of their cars. And let's start off. Bob is a Ford guy, and among other things. Yeah. He's got Chevys. He's a little bit of everything, which is what we all should be now. Shouldn't we experience a little bit of everything? Let's start off with, well, I'll tell you what, let's start off with the Ford right behind our buddy Lou. And Lou, tell us a little bit about that. It looks like a Starsky and Hutch mobile.
It is Starsky and Hutch car. This is a 1974 Ford Torino. Let me turn this around for you so you guys can see this. There you go. I'll let you do it. But it's a 1974 Ford Torino Starsky and Hutch car. This is what I would call a tribute car. Although I've had the original cast members sign the car, also with a few other celebrities. I can tell you that Linda Carter herself signed the sun visor. I don't know if you guys can hear me. The sun visor.
Yeah, we can.
And I'll show you that right here. But up in there, she signed that, sat in the seat. But I've had this car for about 14 years now, and I bought it from a guy that builds these movie cars down in San Diego. And it's been a lot of fun having it. Of course, a lot of people recognize the car and take it to various car cruises and car shows. probably the coolest thing for me anyway about this car, and I never thought this would happen, besides getting the autographs from the original cast members. A couple of years ago, I was invited to Paul Michael Glazer's, who played Starsky in the original series. I got invited to his birthday party. He was turning 76. So we all met up with a very small group of people. We met out in Cyprus, and I brought the car. Matter of fact, a buddy of mine brought his car, and I asked Paul if he would drive the car. And so I got to sit in the passenger seat while he drove it, and it was a lot of fun. I can say that officially, Paul Michael Glazer has actually driven this Starsky and Hutch car.
So Linda Carter has been in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
Paul Michael Glazer has been in the driver's seat.
Yes.
I take it you plan to never wash the upholstery ever again.
It has never been washed, especially the passenger seat.
Very good. Very good.
It's a lot of fun to drive, and you know, my wife and I, we've had it, like I said, 14 years now, and you know, it's amazing where we take this car everywhere, and we get people that recognize the car and wave and start taking pictures and putting on video cameras, and especially people our age, they recognize the car. So even a lot of the law enforcement out here in Simi Valley recognize the car. They know what it's all about. So it's kind of cool.
So you've had this car, I'm trying to remember, did you have it when they made the movie?
No, matter of fact, it was the movie that inspired me to go look for one. Because, you know, when I was a kid, I watched the TV series and loved the show, and of course fell in love with the car. And then when the movie came out, there was the car again, and I fell in love with the car all over again. I started looking around, and I found this gentleman in San Diego that built these, and I went down and took a look, and before you know it, bought the car. Matter of fact, it came down to either buying this one or a '69 Camaro, because I wanted a car. And being in my situation, being in a wheelchair, I've always driven vans. I said I want to buy a car, and I want it to be like a hot rod type car. And so I was torn between the '69 Camaro and the Starsky and Hutch car. And my wife said, "You get to pick one."
Typical wife.
Okay. And then my daughter heard the conversation, and my daughter was about 14 at the time, and she says to me, says, "Dad, if you're going to buy a car, buy the Starsky and Hutch car. It's cool." And that was it. That's all it took. So here we are.
Very good. That's very cool. You've taken it to a lot of shows. I know that it's been a lot of fun for you. I mean, was this your first choice as a car for a TV situation, or was there maybe another car? Was there another TV show car that you might have been interested in at one time?
Well, yeah. I have to tell you, when I was 8 years old, I got to meet Adam West, who was, of course, everybody knows as Batman. And I got to meet him on the set and actually watch them film one of the episodes. And I got to meet him, very nice man. And he says to me, "Would you like a ride in the Batmobile?" I said, "Absolutely." So we took a ride in the Batmobile, me and Adam West. And that was really my first love, was the Batmobile. So if I could afford it, my next car would definitely be a Batmobile.
All right, your wife's not listening now, is she?
She's holding the camera.
Oh, darn.
Whisper,
I was thinking
Bob,
maybe you could
whisper.
sneak around. Yeah, I'll whisper.
I want a Batmobile.
Well, Bob, what did you want her to do? Walk around it?
Yeah.
You want to
Well,
walk
yeah,
around the car? Go ahead.
Go ahead and walk around the car. I'll throw out the stats, I guess. I mean,
Beautiful.
it is a beautiful car. And of course, I remember talking to Paul Michael Glazer about the car once on the show when we actually did it from the Hollywood show some time ago, a few years back. And he was talking about when they first had that car, that it was, wait a minute, let me get it so you could see. Let's see. There you go. So we could see it, and you could see how back in the day, they initially put a bench seat in the car. But the only problem was when they were making those turns, these things are still barges, even though at that time they were mid-size Ford Torinos. And apparently David Soul kept sliding into Paul's lap. So
He wasn't that kind of guy.
he slid right in a couple of times, and they ended up having to turn around and get them bucket seats and use seat belts.
Yeah,
So,
seatbelts are a good idea.
so that was kind of interesting. Very good.
What engine is powering this car?
It's got a 351 Cleveland. It's also got some headers on there, Edelbrock manifold, 600 Edelbrock carburetor on there. So makes a nice rumble.
Hey,
See,
Lou,
it puts a little over 300 horsepower.
I'm not sure about the horsepower.
Lou, are you aware of the hockey stick decal? If you or your wife can just kind of move left a little bit toward the end there, and because I think it's interesting that supposedly based on the way that's shaped, you can tell the difference between the TV one and the movie one. Have you ever heard anything about that?
Where's it? I'm not sure what he's referring to.
I guess, well, supposedly,
You talking about the stripe?
yeah.
Yeah, the stripe. This was actually designed by Mike Welsh, Movie Mike, who Movie Mike is the gentleman that built the 3 hero cars in the movie Starsky Hutch. And he took this design from the original TV series. So this stripe here is probably pretty close to what we saw on the TV series. It may not be exact, but it's pretty darn close.
I don't think anybody's going to say, start nitpicking. Well, maybe some Starsky and Hutch aficionados might, but I think for the most of us, we're just walking around with our jaw dropping and going humana, 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 because that is a very cool car, and it's done really well too.
It's got a siren, which is kind of fun, and it's also got the cherry police light, which actually works. So it's got a little PA announcer thing there, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You can see the. Go ahead, Bob.
Did Mike have anything to do with these cars?
No,
No, not this one.
no.
Okay.
That's kind of cool, though. I mean, and you've also got a police unit in there and the whole thing. I assume it doesn't work.
No, the siren works, and the cherry police light does work too.
Now that's cool.
Yeah, so you can put that on the top of the car like Hutch used to do.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, you can do that. And you can even turn it on. Linda will turn it on for you.
Oh, that'll get the neighbors going.
Oh, yeah. We're not going to put the siren on.
Oh, okay.
Good. Yeah, there we go.
But
Got to complete the harassment of those.
you can hit the button, the top button. The top. No. That one. That should be. Oh, it's not going. Okay.
Because of
The
the,
noise button.
Oh, the key's not in. Yeah, that's right. Okay, turn it off. Yeah, we have to turn the car on, put the key in, but otherwise it does work.
Very
So,
good.
One time, kind of a funny story. I was at a car cruise over at, remember the old Flames in Northridge?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was at a car cruise there, and we met up. It was on a Friday night, and there were a bunch of kids there, little kids. And as I was getting ready to leave, one of the kids said, "Hey, can you fire up the siren?" I said, "Sure." So I kind of hit the siren a little bit, only for a few seconds, and then that was it. Left, and as I'm heading down, I think it was Corbin towards Devonshire, I get pulled over by an LAPD car, and they're a couple of young guys, and one officer comes up to me and says, "Was that you?" And I said, "What do you mean, officer?" He goes, "Well, we heard a siren." And I said, "Yeah, but that was back at the car show." And he goes, "Well, you're not allowed to do that on the street. Listen, I know that, officer. Well, while they were doing that, they were checking out the car.
Of course.
And I was thinking to myself, God, one of my buddies drives by and takes a picture of this, because I just thought it would be a cool photo to have LAPD pulling over Starsky and Hutch.
There you go.
That'd be a good question. Like, how many times has driving that Starsky and Hutch gotten you out of a ticket?
You know, I don't know. I know that one time I was on the freeway and there was a kind of a lot of congestion. There was some kind of a vehicle mishap, and a highway patrol officer was waving us through. And then when I came by, he kind of put his hands on his hips and he kind of nodded his head and waved at me.
Very good.
And we just laughed and waved back. So, yeah.
Very cool car. Very cool car. Thanks for sharing it on the show.
Sure. Thank you, guys.
Stay with us. Don't go away. Don't go away in case you have any questions for our other guests. Let's go back to Richard. Let's go to you. You are currently in, I guess, Hemet, correct?
Yeah, so I'm in Hemet at the garage of a friend of mine, and that's where I stored Kit last February, because I decided to move, and so I sold my house and moved into a new house, but it's not ready to move stuff in yet. So Kit is still out in Hemet.
Okay, so isn't that where Kit has always been stored, in Hemet somewhere? I mean, just seems like that'd be a good place to store Kit.
Yeah, maybe, but supposedly it's actually the Tustin Hangars that were the secret base for Kit and its group that managed it.
Okay, so
underground.
Go ahead.
Yes?
No, go ahead.
Underground, under one of the hangars, that was the secret base. I forget now what it's called, but it's a secret base where Kit was stored and would be deployed to go combat crime.
Now, for those of you who are looking and going, that doesn't look like a Firebird, it's because it's not. From 2008 to 2009, basically one season, they did a version of it, and they used what, Richard?
They used a 2008 Mustang, a black Mustang with black stripes on it. Looks really cool. And it was supposed to be a GT 500 KR, but actually the KRs hadn't come out yet. So they just took a regular Mustang, like mine, and they did several, but mine is the beauty car. You know, it's number one, the best one. And
So, go ahead.
They took a bunch of regular Mustangs and dressed them up with real Shelby parts and said, okay, this is the GT 500 KR, which would stand for Ford. It would be King of the Road. But in this case, it stands for Knight Rider.
Wow. I did not know that.
So Richard, yours is one of the real cars.
Yes, it was used in the show. But basically, it had its engine out during the whole show, and they would push it on and off set. And it was the set that was supposedly under the Tustin Hangars. And they would spin the car around, too, so they took out the engine so there wouldn't be fluids flying around. And I still have holes in the floor where they attached it to a gimbal. So they called mine also the gimbal car, because they would spin it around, and they would have these laser arms shooting lasers at it, doing some sort of high-tech maintenance work. And so that's the way it was used.
Well, that's
How did you acquire the car?
What is
How
that?
did you get the car? How did you get the car, Rich?
Oh, I got it because it was auctioned off in LA for charity, right at Universal Studios, actually. But I just bid on it at home. So with a few clicks of the mouse, the car was mine.
Really?
Oh, but of course, I did go and check it out in person the day before. I wouldn't buy a car just like that.
So
And when I saw it, it was just beautiful, and I had to have it.
So you were just minding your own business, and how much planning went into buying this car, or did you just was it spur of the moment?
Well, I found out about 2 weeks before the auction. And so I agonized over it because I was looking for a daily driver, and I thought this would be a very special daily driver. And so up to the night before, I still wasn't sure if I was going to bid on the car, but I went for it. And I decided it's too good to be a daily driver. So I just keep it pristine as the prop that it is, and drive it only to shows. And I try to make it only car shows that are either a lot of fun for me or they do some good, like charity work.
Which engine's in the car?
Oh, what engine? It's the 4-liter V6, just a standard. So it saves gas, but it still has a lot of get up and go. 305 horsepower, I think. That's not
Nope.
bad.
So
No, it's more than Shelby GT350 had when they first came out.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we all
Yeah,
know.
this one would be, yeah.
Go ahead.
I think this one would be 540 horsepower if it were the real KR.
Right.
But they didn't use real KRs on the show because they didn't exist yet.
So the Firebird had a dashboard that was completely unique and completely unique to the television show. Did the Mustang have that, and does your Mustang have that? Like a fancy dashboard?
No, not as fancy, because in this one it's supposed to be mostly up displays. So they were able to get away with not modifying the cars and then just using special effects on the show. The hood of the car would become a computer screen if they wanted, or the windows, the front window, of course, the windscreen would become a screen also. And they do have a few modifications, like they put in an Italian racing wheel. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. Cool Italian racing wheel. And then there's the orb in the middle.
Oh, you're
And
breaking up.
the orb is where the car communicates, but all sorts of lights.
You
and
have
there
an
I have some autographs from the Hoff and some other actors.
You have an orb. I see an orb.
So yeah, the orb, there it is.
Wow.
I don't have any of the special effects lighting that went into it, but yeah, I still need to find that prop, because there was actually a thing that would plug in there with LEDs in it, and that would be cool to have.
So you have a radio in there? Is there a radio actually in there?
Oh, there's an actual radio in the car, just the regular radio.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
But up above, that would be, yeah, what was up there? I guess that's where there were just a couple of vents. And so
I see.
It's still vents through the special effect thing.
Can you give us a little tour? Pop out of the car and show us a little bit of the outside?
Yes, and I hope the battery lasts.
Okay.
And, we'll try.
We'll keep the fingers crossed. That's it. Jim will be joining us in a couple of minutes here. So far, so good. Tell us a little bit about it.
So here, you can see the lights going on here.
No, we can't.
The
There we
famous
go.
scanner. Not all the LEDs are firing, but you can sort of see how it works. It was kind of like the same idea as in Battlestar Galactica with Cylon.
Uh-huh.
It goes back, of course, to the original Knight Rider, where they just had one scanner, but they decided to make it a double with Mustang because it has two vents, so it worked perfectly. So
Okay.
otherwise, let's see. Yeah, we don't want to walk into the sun.
Oh, it's okay. At this
there
point,
you go.
there's how about that? That's the actual TV car.
Yes. And I've collected a bunch of signatures as well as I cover. So I have in the trunk a bunch of the different directors, stuntmen, and technicians, people who worked on the show, but not in front of the camera.
I see.
So it's in the rear because they're not in front of the camera.
I see. So they're rear of the car, not in front of the camera. So you have who signed? You said David Hasselhoff and who else?
Yes, and Rebecca Holden. She's from the old show, but I thought I needed to get her because she just has such a beautiful signature. And I got Glenn Larson, and that was kind of a coup also. And unfortunately, he's passed away now.
Was he involved in the Mustang version of Knight Rider? Glenn Larson?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, he was behind creating it originally, but then I think he fell ill, and then he handed it off to other people, and I don't think he was happy with the way they took the show. he was telling me that, oh, all these young people just took it the wrong way.
Uh-huh.
But, it just didn't work out very well. But I got the best part of the show. I got the car. So
There you go.
I can't complain. Oh, and then I got Cleo Shelby to sign it just because we were hanging out at a car show, even though she doesn't really have much to do with this. Oh, but I got Fireball Tim. He designed it.
Oh, there you go.
Cool.
He designed the attack mode of this car for the show.
Oh, okay. Very good.
And there we go. Well, anyway, it's Hasselhoff's signature across the bottom here. It doesn't really look like it, but anyway.
But he wasn't, again, he was not in that version of the show.
Well, he was in only the first episode.
I
sort of tapped it off to the new guy.
Ah, okay. Now there was another one that they did. I want to say 2010. Wasn't there one in 2010 and they used another car, or was that also a Mustang?
That might have been the one where they used a red car. I'm not sure. Or that might have been the 1997. I'm not really sure about all that history because I missed those shows. I saw the original back in the 80s, and then actually I missed this show completely too. I meant to watch it and forgot.
You weren't the only one.
Yeah.
No, but I totally wanted to watch it. I really did. But I don't know. I got distracted with work, or I was watching something else, and I ended up missing it until the car came up for auction. Then I went, oh, that car from that auction. That car from that show I wanted to watch. And so I bought the car, and then I bought the DVD set so I could catch up.
From that show I've never watched before. I want that car.
No, because I've been all about Mustangs since I was little. So this was a Mustang. Really well done, I think. I think they actually made it look nicer than Ford did for the 2005. Then they improved it later on, but I think this looks the coolest with the Italian racing wheel and just little touches.
So they actually took the airbag out.
Oh yeah, there's no airbags in this car. I'm still receiving mailings from Ford telling me to replace the airbags, and I've already talked to them. They said, "Okay, well, yeah, we won't bother you anymore," but they keep bothering.
So is there the police trying to follow you in Hemet? Is that what that is?
Police following me? No.
No, I keep hearing sirens.
They were going past me, Randy.
Oh, well, they're trying to follow. What's that guy doing in the 48 Ford? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't here. But anyway, actually, there was a policeman, CHP, who followed me on the 101 right in going through downtown LA. And he pulled up right next to me, and we were going 55, that curve right near the police department.
Yes.
And he started motioning to me. He pulled up on my left side and motioned to me, "Hey, roll down your window." And so I rolled it down, and then he told me, "Hey, tell me about the car." And so here we're going down the road at 55 miles an hour, and he's telling me, "So tell me about the car." So I told him a little something, and trying to keep my eyes on the road. Yeah, that was interesting.
Very cool. Well, thanks for sharing the car with us. That's a lot of fun.
Oh,
That's
you're welcome.
Neat. And of course, now we bring on a very patient man in his own home outside of California. Jim Suva joining us. Jim, where are you?
I'm actually in Westchester, Illinois, which is about 8 miles straight west from downtown loop of Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah.
I keep thinking of all the Chicago DJs from back in the day. Yeah, wow. You have a vehicle that you gave us a little glimpse of before. Tell us a little bit about that, and how did you acquire that car?
Okay, well, mine is a 1977 Pontiac Firebird Spree. It looks just like the car. It's a tribute car from the Rockford Files.
There you go, the Rockford Files.
And it's mostly an original car. It's it's got a 305 V8 engine, which is about 185 horsepower. It has got air conditioning. Let's see, like looking upside down as I go, because this is not as easy as it looks. With
You're doing great.
Rally wheels. And my newest addition to my collection is a spotlight, just like they used on the set.
Yeah, he actually has a spotlight complete with the, you know, the little,
The barn doors.
yeah, the barn doors on there and the whole thing.
Yeah. And when I take the car shows, everybody always asks me if it's an original car from the series, and you know, they have this certain light in their face, how great this is. This is actually the car that James Garner drove. But unfortunately, when I tell them that it's a replica or a tribute car, they go, "It's a really nice car. It really is." But it lacks that one thing. But what's interesting about this car is that in 2010, I drove it on a TV show called Pioneers of Television, and it turned out inside the car here.
I think we've lost you. Okay. We see the picture, but we're not hearing you for some reason.
Because I talk too soft sometimes.
Ah, I
Anyway.
see. Well, it's,
Anyway,
but it's a, go ahead.
anyway, they interviewed James Garner and Stephen J. Cannell. In Beverly Hills. We talked about how James Garner did most of his own stunt driving. And so the people at BT Media is based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, hired me to bring my car up and drive my car and recreate like a day on the set of the Rockford Files. And I had a friend of mine actually trailered a car up with me and my son, and I got to drive the car like James Rockford or James Garner. And it was the biggest thrill of my life. And then the following year, I went out to Paradise Cove with some friends, and we had our first Rockford Fest at the old Sandcastle restaurant. And John Winokur was there, who co-wrote the James Garner Files. And so he was kind enough to take my visor and actually take it to Garner's house, and he signed it for me.
Oh, how very nice.
So over the couple of years after that, we used to do Rockford Fests or Rockford Files casting crew parties. So I would get people to sign my visors, and I don't have them in the car all the time. And I'd flip them down at car shows, and everybody's taking pictures. Well, unfortunately, it started to fade out on me. So now I had to buy 2 new visors to put in the car, and I have the other ones downstairs trying to preserve them so it doesn't totally fade out altogether. So that's its claim to fame. And it gets a lot of notices. I've done a lot of different car shows around. It's a driven car. It's about 85% original factory from GM. I've done only minor things. I put an AM/FM radio in it. That's actually the standard radio that they had at the time. I put 2 reverse speakers in, and just has done maintenance on it. And it's very well liked. In fact, my wife got me a life-size cardboard cutout of James Garner for my birthday, and I thought this is really cool, but it's kind of cheesy to go to a car show and put this up. Well, I'm a co-chair for the Cruising Tigers Indian Uprising. We're going to celebrate today. This would have been our 30th year of doing a car show. We've had like 600 cars the last few years, and we've had to not have it this year because our venue changed. So we're going to get a new venue next year and be back. But I started putting the James Garner cutout next to the car, and you wouldn't believe how many people love it. I mean, I got people. I mean, obviously women love to take pictures with them, but there's guys doing the same thing. So it's kind of a cool thing.
How did you how did you find the car?
Back in 2002, in October, they actually had one of the cars that was used in the movies for Rockford in the 1990s. And that car now is in Australia, was auctioned off in Meekum, and was actually once owned by Wellborn Muscle Car Museum. And so I saw it on eBay, sent an email right away to the seller and said, hey, what kind of documentation you have on this car? And then it was like 2 hours, and all of a sudden it disappeared. It took it off, and never knew what happened to it. And I really wanted a Firebird, so I kept watching, and 2 weeks later, this car showed up on eBay in Rhode Island. And called the guy up, said, I want the car. Now, this is the great part of it. This car cost me, at 63,000 miles on it, only cost me $3,900.
Wow.
You can't touch one of these cars now for
No.
less than like 10,000. And I think this one's worth about 15, the way it sits.
So,
And
so it originally was gold. You didn't have to paint it or do anything else to it.
that's factory. In fact, it's faded enough that it looks just like the Rockford color. Because the Rockford color is Sierra Gold. It's a 1964, 65 Cadillac stock color. And we call it light topaz. A friend of mine has 3 of the original cars out there in Simi Valley, and he got the codes to it. And so unless you put this car right next to a screen used car, it looks just like Rockford's car.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
interesting.
I've been very, very fortunate to know people that have owned the cars. And as you had talked about earlier, I have a friend of mine that works, Steve Reich, he's a producer on Jay Leno's Garage. And they just did a nice spot with Mike Guerrero with an actual car that was owned by James Garner. He bought it right after the show stopped filming, kept it for a year, sold it, went to a TV station that was promoting the Rockford Files and reruns, and was raffled off and picked up a winning ticket pulled by Richard Petty from NASCAR. And I wanted that car so badly, but the lady who owned it didn't give me a good price, and she wanted a lot of money, so I didn't buy it.
No.
But I helped them restore it and then sell it at Barrett Jackson. And Steve is a friend of mine, knew I had the connection with the owner, who I met at the Indian Uprising 3 years ago with my car, and it's like all it's converging. And
Yeah.
So he called me up and said, "Hey, we want to do this segment with Mike Rowe," because Mike Rowe actually had tweeted when it was on Barrett Jackson that I am not a car collector, but if I could collect a car, this is the one I collect. So they wanted it.
Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs on, right. Okay.
And so that's how he got so that's how that car got on it. And what's interesting is I'll give a shameless plug here for the Suva Files, which is a blog I have. And
It's pretty
next
good.
month,
It's pretty good. I've read it a bunch. Go ahead.
Well, next month there'll be the Suva Files will return. It hasn't been on, I haven't done anything writing in about a year, but it will have the complete behind-the-scenes story of that filming of Rockford Files on Jay Leno's Garage. So,
Oh, okay. Very something to look out for. Very good. Very good. All right. So let me ask this. Jim, if you had another car that you could get that's a TV or movie car, what would it be?
The Kid from Knight Rider. And I actually was going to build one, but it cost so much money and so much electronics in it. I opted and I had it at the same time I had this car, and I said, "Damn it, I'm going to keep this car." So I sold Kid. So.
Mm-hmm. You're a Pontiac guy. What do you think of the Firebird from Smokey and the Bandit?
I loved it. He had a 79 Trans Am when that came out, the second movie. My brother had an original 76, which I later bought, which was the gold edition without the T-tops. So that I love that car. That'd be probably right up there with Kit to get.
How many cars do you have, and what are they?
Actually, the only good car I have is a Rockford Firebird.
Oh, okay.
I have a Chevy Cavalier. My wife and I own a Mazda CX-7, and my son has an Equinox. So we don't have any other star cars.
Okay. Hey, Lou, let me ask you this. Obviously that's a cool car you have, but what do you have any other cars?
I have a Dodge Challenger. It's a 2015. It's a fun car. It's got the V8 Hemi, and it's kind of it was interesting because I had been always driving vans for my whole life, and of course the Torino was the first time I actually was able to drive a car because of my situation of being in a wheelchair. And just finally it was actually my wife that actually found a Dodge Challenger on the lot. Believe it or not, it was at the Ford out here in Simi Valley. It was a Dodge Challenger, and she went over and looked at it, and she said, "I think you can get in this Dodge Challenger the same way you get in the Torino, breaking down the wheelchair and all that." So I tried it out, and and it seemed to work out pretty good. And so I actually have a couple of guys out here in Simi Valley. You may have heard of Pure Vision.
Yep.
And
Oh, Steve Stroh. Yeah.
Steve, good guy, and he checked it out. The only hiccup was the center console, because when I get in the Torino, I break down my wheelchair and I slide from the passenger side to the driver's side so that I can get behind there. And the only thing that was a problem for me was a center console in the Dodge Challenger, because it's too high. And so I asked Steve, is there anything they can do about it? And so he actually sent a couple of his guys over to the Dodge lot out here in Simi, and they checked it out for me, and they said, yeah, we can flatten it down for you. And when you look at it, after they were done with it, it looks like it came out of the factory like that. And so I have a Torino, and I've got a Dodge Challenger, and I no longer have to drive a minivan, and it's nice.
Let me ask, if it's okay, what happened to you and how long have you had to be in a wheelchair?
Well, I lost my legs when I was 7 years old. It was due to a allergic reaction to penicillin.
Oh,
I had a very rare reaction, which actually it should have killed me. And so, matter of fact, the doctors gave me very little chance of survival. And apparently it was some type of an infection that started from the toes up. And then of course, years later, I found out that the doctors told my parents I wasn't going to make it. And obviously I did. And I was in the hospital for about 3 months. And when I left, I was in the hospital. I was in a wheelchair. And then I learned from my uncle many years later that the doctors actually told my parents when we were leaving the hospital that I would only live for a couple more years. And
Wow.
so here I am. I turned 61 in September, and I'm still kicking.
Awesome. Glad you're with us. Glad you're telling us a bunch of car stories. Very good. Rich, what else do you drive?
Well, I was driving a 1991 Pontiac Bonneville, but I got T-boned in Fullerton back in February.
Ouch.
And so they just smashed up the whole right side of the car, and then whoever did it then drove off.
oh,
Oddly enough, they just left me sitting there in the middle of the road with car parts of theirs strewn all over the road and parts of mine strewn all over. But I was still able to drive home. And the police didn't want to take a report. They said, oh, there's no chance we'll find this person, so no use taking a report. It's like, what? And then my insurance company didn't care either. It's like, oh, okay, you got a crash. What are the details? Okay, whatever.
Pontiac Bonnevilles from 1991 get no respect.
No.
Am I right or am I right here?
You're
huh?
right. You're right.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, but mine was actually award-winning. I took it to the Radwood show in December, and I won Best Future Collectible.
Oh,
Oh my.
there you go.
wow.
No.
Oh, because I
anymore.
kept that car in really, really good shape, even though it had 255,000 miles on it.
So where do you
The
find
interior,
where do you
the
find
interior is
another
still
90? Where do you find another 91 Bonneville to replace it?
I have no idea. Well, actually, I've seen some, I actually made a page for it on Facebook. And so people have told me, hey, look at mine. And hey, there's this one for sale and whatever. But no, I'm done with those. So I got a 2020 Ford Explorer. There you
All
go.
right. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for joining me. You guys had great car stories. You had some good cars to show us. Bob, I think this is an interesting idea. This works.
I like it.
We're going to have to do this again.
We got a good group of guys and some interesting cars. Thank you very much for being part of this.
Yeah, that really.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
Thanks.
for inviting me.
Hey, and
Yeah,
don't forget to join us and listen to our audio podcast. This will be on radio.com. You'll either be hearing that. If you are listening to it on radio.com, wait a couple of weeks, and then we'll put it on our YouTube channel, Two Tired Guys YouTube channel. So that'll be fun to watch as well. Don't forget, subscribe to radio.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Two Tired Guys. Don't subscribe to Talking About Cars. That's another channel from when we used to do shows like a few years ago. But subscribe to Two Tired Guys Productions. Go ahead.
Productions. Yeah.
Productions.
Two Tired Guys Productions. If they go to Two Tired Guys, they're going to find something different.
Yeah.
So make sure you put the.
He's right.
Something about blue pills or something. I don't know. You get a little tired. Anyway, follow us. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're also on Twitter. And I understand, Bob, we are also on, what are the other places you're posting stuff?
Tumblr,
Tumblr.
Pinterest, Blogger, Twitter, Instagram. We're all over the place.
We are.
Cicciari Guys Productions.
What's
It
that?
might be easier just to tell us. It's probably easier just to tell us where you guys aren't on.
Right. We're at all the new fancy ones your kids are on. We're not there. But the ones you know about, we're there, and you have to follow us and do that, because we've actually got some fun shows on there, and we got more coming up. So until next time, I'm Randy. That's Bob. That's Lou. That's Rich. That's Jim. And thanks for joining us. We've had a lot of fun talking about cars. We will see you next time. So long.
Thank you.